tango class, so we hope that you have a lot of fun today. So, a couple of things to start.
So, remember, be well enough in order to attend this class or watch this video, and our terms and conditions are at the description of this video, so please have a read. Especially
for stage tango, we always need to be very careful not to overdo things, and maybe have a bit of a stretch in the ends would actually always work in our favor. So, we'll start our stage tango, so it's a bit of a mix between jumps, lifts and other things. But we are going to start with what we might refer as an arm gancho. So it's a little bit special and it's actually quite fun, shown sometimes or used sometimes during shows and performances.
So maybe we can show it what it is?
With the arm.
Oh, not yet the whole thing then?
I think it's up to you.
I think maybe let's show it the full thing so you can see how it's going to build up into.
Okay.
And then we'll break it down in exercises. I think it might be a good idea, no?
Absolutely. So, this is the idea. So it's a bit of a new thing where I'm using my arm. It's a bit like, I have to say, it's a bit like what I feel in football. You know, football you can't use your arms and hands. I feel a bit the same with in tango. So when I use the arm, it's a bit something special.
Well, it's stage tango, so we are allowed to have a little bit more of an experimental side to it. Again, the important thing is to know how to create the situation to be safe for both leader and follower.
So I would actually use one more occasion to show it so that it's more visible.
Okay.
So. Right, so let's start with a little exercise to understand the dynamic and the timing of the gancho itself. We'll simply do it with our arms because it's much simpler.
Okay.
So this is the idea. I'm going to hook my partner with my own arm, and she's of course with the leg, but I'm going to straighten, and this is going to lift that leg, and this is how we are going to disengage. So as an exercise, we recommend this thing here, 1, 2, 3. So without stopping, it's going to be up and go.
So what I feel here, I am initiating the movement, so I am going to take my arm around, and Bruno is going to receive the arm with a little bit of supporting energy, and then he lets my weight take his arm a little bit away. And then I relax my arm, so when Bruno is ejecting the arm here, I'm not doing it myself. That is the idea, because later when you do it with the leg, it's going to be him coming back to the axis that's going to bring my leg back.
So, 1, 2, 3. So there needs to be a certain synchronicity of the movement here. One more time. 1, 2 and 3, maybe this angle. So it's going to be here and go. Okay, so this is what is a useful exercise. Now, in terms of the structure, we're going to show you how to get into that gancho from the arm, if you like. It's going to start from Americana. So as a quick reminder, Americana is this position where we have our hips facing the same direction, and there's a tiny bit of dissociation towards each other. Of course, it's staged, but it doesn't matter. It's still important to have a good connection with each other. So as I'm here, I'm actually going to start with my right forward and Paula with the left.
Yes, so we are not going yet into the extension. We're going to get to the position, and then I'm just going to go with the leg first. And we're going to be still on axis. So this is the second stage of the exercise.
Exactly. So we're going to do that. And here I'm going to have that element of pull, and I'm going to catch this here, and then the exit. So basically here, let's do it without the extension. Yeah. Exercise number 2. 1, 2, 3.
So,
I'm not doing any side step just now.
Yes, so be careful that, so if you're a follower and you're doing this and you're not very flexible, it's okay to do it a little bit lower, because the leader can catch the leg a little bit lower and still give a kind of effect to rebound the leg away. So only go as far as it's comfortable for you. This is more about the momentum and the rebound energy, and not so much about how high the leg can go. Yeah?
Exactly. So for me, I need to explain a little bit how I will manage to stand that leg, because of course this is led, even if it's stage tango, the energy still needs to be received by the follower. So I'm going to go forward with my right, and I'm going to have that element of rotation and up at the same time. So it's going to be a little bit down and up, and that actually is sending Paula's right foot and right leg around. So this has to be synchronized between the up and the dissociation to the left. Because what I'm going to try to do as a leader is to catch the moment when her right leg becomes available, which is about now, and I said, please come here. Okay? So, in order to
You
do so...
missed the opportunity.
I didn't want to make the opportunity. I'm going to do that here. Now, one thing for leader which is going to be very useful is this right hand. It looks like it's quite inactive. It's not, because I need to go a little bit lower and pull a little bit up my partner. So yes, there's an opening here, of course, with the left part of the shoulder, the embrace, but the right part is quite active, and I'm going to, boom, yes, kind of sending the energy almost this way, up and slightly to the left, in this direction. This is how I can catch that leg.
So when the leader scoops, that is an opportunity for me to readjust the left arm, which is going to help me, because I'm going to have my left arm around Bruno's shoulders. That's going to help me to keep my position up, and I have an extra push that I'm going to use in order not to make myself too heavy for my partner. So the moment that he is scooping, I'm going to reposition, as you can see, my left arm around his shoulders. So I'm going to have two layers of help, one here and one here.
That means, as a leader, what I need to do is prepare before I even do this by having my hand going a little bit to the ceiling, so that I'm able to lift a little bit this way. Plus, of course, very quickly, as we see, the hand will have to disengage from the follower's hand and come here to receive the leg. So, in terms of, as we said, the scooping is one. And here I just have to sand that leg, okay? So at this stage I'm going to really scoop there, and then I need to disengage the hands. So what about the timing? The timing is going to be one, scooping, and as she goes straight and up, I'm going to prepare my hand. Look, sorry.
It's okay.
I leave you a little bit long, and here.
So I'm utilizing, to exit, because I'm utilizing the energy, the rebound energy that I get back from Bruno, to utilize that impulse and remove my leg. So otherwise, momentum-wise, it's not going to be quite right. So I'm only giving the energy to go, and the return is because he's sending it away, if that makes sense.
So in terms of timing, I just need the usual normal timing of the beat, which is 1 per second, give or take. And this is also something which is quite natural for the follower, because it's neither too quick nor too slow. It's I catch and I sand, and as simple as that. And of course, this is not rushed. We take our time, but there's no freeze in the middle.
Exactly. So you have to keep continuous and utilize the momentum that you have, and don't let the energy slow down too much, because if you do, you don't have the momentum for the exit.
So look at this. One, I catch and I sand. This way, of course, here I stop to show you, and we wouldn't have to stop. Now let's add this side step. So as I'm going to come here, I'm not going to stay here and just bend. I'm going to go to the left part, and she's going to actually stretch a little bit the position of the follower, because her left leg is going to be a little bit to the side, and I'm going to have more weight onto my arm. So basically, for this I need to prepare to receive the entire weight of the follower here, whereas normally I would have the weight a bit more distributed in my body. So here is a little bit more of a, and using the leg is going to help me a lot. So do not think it's only the leg, sorry, the arm doing all the work. I have to use the entire body to go back with a real rebound.
And this is where the standing leg doing the work and strengthening, so when you are doing a lot of exercises to strengthen your standing leg, it's going to help you for things like this, because you're going to have more power in your legs than you have power in the arms. Now, of course, as a follower, I am going to help the leader to make myself as light as possible. So I have elements of support, which are, first of all, I have to engage my own core and not just collapse my weight entirely on him. So I'm going to engage my center and I'm holding part of my own weight. That's number one. Number two, I'm going to utilize my left arm to release a little bit the weight even more. And then my right arm, the same, and that's where I'm going to receive the impulse for the exit via the right arm and via the leader's standing leg. Together, we're going to make the transition much more doable.
So we are going to use the left knee and left leg here to bend and come back. The right knee is relatively not used very much in that little configuration. So we are going to take a look at how it is if we don't stop. Scoop, down, and back.
So I need to mention one detail because my right arm needs to go somewhere during the timing of the gancho. So during that moment what I do, I'm going to take my right arm around Bruno. So it's going to be a little bit of an embrace with both arms just for a short while. And then the moment that I feel that he's bringing me back into my standing leg, I immediately change from his shoulder to the embrace. So I have to help him as soon as possible.
Mm-hmm. So, maybe we do the music, sorry.
Okay.
So I'm going to do a few steps before entering into that pose, just to place it in context. Okay, I was thinking we haven't covered this just yet.
Okay. Doesn't respond to me.
Okay. So, what we need to understand is how to exit. Of course, we know that the exit is going to be this push to the right hand side, but very quickly I'm going to have Paula going back onto the right leg, which was the leg that was actually sent here. So there's a moment when we are both going to go back this way, where I'm going back with the left leg and she's going back with the right leg. Now what needs to happen is I need to bring my right around her and transfer my way to the right leg. I can collect and then I just go with my left.
So the natural momentum of the movement of the leg going back kind of helps the leader going back and around. If we utilize it in the way that it makes sense, I feel that my leg going out with that much momentum is actually helping the leader, no?
Yes.
Taking the energy to go back and around. So we try not to force the exit, so the transition to the exit, but utilize the circularity or circulation of the energy or the flow of energy to go into the next thing. So we don't make anything abrupt, but we try to make it as continuous as possible.
Absolutely. So if we do it slowly I'm going to come in and out, and here I'm going to go back. This is when I recover with the arm around, so this is a side step, and now I have my weight on my right. I'm using cross system, and I'm most likely going to finish with a cross to resolve into power system.
Shall we do a few times with the music and
Okay.
then give some time to try?
Okay,
Yeah.
let's do it. Okay, no time to practice.
Quiero tenerte muy cerca, mirar en tus ojos, estar junto a ti. Piensa que mañana yo tan lejos, muy lejos de aquí. Bésame, bésame mucho, como si fuera esta noche la última vez. Bésame mucho, que tengo miedo perderte, perderte. Tengo miedo perderte,
Okay, good. So, we're going to show you a variant around this specific step, which is interesting because it's going to involve a very, very similar setup for the leader, but not for the follower. So, we're going to get into this position where I'm going to go into Americana, and I'm going to go sideways, to the left, to the right, and then to the right again. And I'm going to go down here. I'm going to have a bit of a scooping end, a bit of a lift if you like, because I will want this leg around my waist. 1 and 2. And here, I haven't completed my step just yet, but I'm going to do a full step to the side here. And come back, maybe a little ocho if you like, or anything that feels comfortable.
So we have a similar system in terms of how the follower helps the leader in the position of the embrace. So I have a scoop of the leader when I'm going forward, so I know that is my opportunity to reposition again my left side and to be ready, because by the time he does a scoop, it means it's either going to be a lift or it's going to take me into a pose. So This is the most clear indicator the moment the leader does the scoop. Now, when I feel that he is offering support of the embrace up, I'm then going to connect my right side of the embrace to my right leg. And that, together with the pressing down of the left, is going to give me that much support to go on my back leg, to have the strength to move my axis into the back leg. Now again, if you are having issues with flexibility of at the hip level, you don't have to go as high. All we need to try to achieve is a hooking position of my left leg around Bruno's hip or Bruno's waist if you are a little bit more flexible. So if this is not comfortable for you, then you can maybe try it a little bit lower. Why not?
Exactly. So I need to actually explain one thing which is very important, is that we did something similar in your last lesson, where basically it actually ended up in a sentada. The difference here is that no, I'm not going to give that much energy to the follower. I'm not going to go and completely scoop her and then land her on my lap here. Instead, I'm just going to go, it's more like a rebound with a little bit of up energy. So it's much softer in terms of energy, because we just need the leg to go up and we don't need to lift the entire body of the follower. Yeah?
Okay. So maybe we can try it once
Yes,
to the actual
yes.
position, but before we do, how about we try and exercise just getting the leg there first,
Yeah.
before we open to that side step,
Absolutely.
yeah?
So this is our exercise to for this specific combination. 1, 2, 3, and then here we are going to lift, and we're just going to keep our feet together for now without opening, and see that the leg is here. So we're going to go in and out a few times. 1, 1, and so on and so forth. Now, of course, we understand that this is a bit too much, but just to understand the mechanics of getting in.
Mm-hmm. It's a good training, also good to strengthen that standing leg and to strengthen the position of the embrace.
So most of the weight will be on the left knee, and I'm going back here. So the right knee is flexing, of course, but there shouldn't be much tension or much push, because I'm mostly on this left, and I'm just going back here. So just try to relax the right knee.
So just remember, in stage tango, try to utilize the floor, and in fact for salon tango as well, but for stage tango you need a little bit more strength because we have jumps and lifts. So try to utilize the help of the floor as much as possible, not just the embrace. So how do you do that? You have to really utilize that push, working, leg rocking, and being able to really send your weight to the floor and utilize the momentum on the way back again, pushing the floor each time. So otherwise, if you don't utilize that potential you have available to you, you're going to take all the work into the frame, and that is not going to be efficient at all.
So the most, I would say dangerous is a bit of a big word, but the danger for leaders is to try exactly to do everything with the arms, and a lot of the time we're going to end up like this, because we feel we don't have enough, so we start actually using the shoulders. So in order to achieve, not to do that, actually to avoid doing that, what I'm going to have to do is go lower than my partner. So how is it possible that I'm going lower? Simply that if we are actually going into that position here, I'm leaving my embrace where it is, so I'm kind of pretending I stay here, but very quickly I'm going to myself go down, and only then I replace my hands. So in order to have this scoop mechanism, I think it's very important in stage to actually understand the scooping mechanism. I need to almost not full, because obviously stage it might be choreographed a little bit, but sometimes not. What I need to do is almost send my partner where she is and go myself more down until I reposition my hand. So this is how I'm going to achieve that element of she's higher than me because I'm going lower.
So one thing that we would not try to do as followers is to guess what is coming, because this is very dangerous. If I see my partner scooping, I immediately think it's a lift, and I might even jump, and he is not ready, prepared, in a position of receiving that much weight. So really, really be careful. Like, never throw yourself without guidance of the partner. Yes. So here I feel there's a scoop, but I don't know what it is. So I have to wait in a very laid back attitude. What is coming after the scoop? Because it could be many things. So the moment that I feel he is sending with rotation and circularity, but keeping me on this leg, I know it's just going to be the piernazo, which is referring to pierna plus abrazo. That's why piernazo, which is we are kind of hugging the waist with our leg. So that is the idea. You see, there is no indication to jump. There is no indication to do a big lift. So therefore, I don't take conclusions. I wait for my partner to take me there. And this is the safest way of following stage tango. Yeah.
So in a way, I think the follower is responding to the amount of energy I'm giving. If my energy is soft, then there's no reason to suddenly go and be very jumpy. I'm going to, as a follower, the follower is going to try to match that energy so that we stay on the same level, if you like.
Even, you know, what it can be a little bit dangerous is when there's a choreography and the timing, if the movements are not well timed and the energy is not well matched, maybe because she knows it's going to be a jump, she might go a little bit too early without actually waiting for the leader, and this can still be dangerous. So even if you know that the choreography is going with the music, you should still try and work together to get the momentum right with each other.
Yes, absolutely. The stage tango doesn't mean that suddenly there is no communication or no connection between leader and follower. Yes, it's maybe planned in advance, but there still needs to be the right amount of timing and lead and following involved in the stage tango.
To exit the sequence, I feel that Bruno is utilizing the floor, again one more time, is utilizing the floor, and that is going to be mirrored in the embrace. So he's pushing up with the arm and he's pushing up with the leg. Now when I am into the position, I'm going to push against me and keep pushing, and that is going to help us keeping the embrace connected during the exit. And I'm not going to be so heavy then for Bruno, because I am active in my exits, and once more I am not collapsing my weight on him and letting him do all the work.
So let's have a look at what is happening after the leg is here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to feel that there's a leg connection here. I'm going to open, side step to the left, bending of the left here, and I'm going to add with the embrace a little bit of rotation so that my partner can be a little bit more towards me. I think it's nice, tell me what you think, but it's nice to actually look at each other for a short moment before we exit. Why not?
Yeah, so try not to rotate with the hips though, because if you rotate with the hips, she is going to lose access to the hook in the hip, so this is very important. When you rotate, just rotate a little bit your chest, lock the hips where they are, don't change anything with the hips, because the follower, she needs that position to be stable.
In a sense, the follower is actually being caught by this little angle here, so it's much easier to have something to grab. And of course, yes, if we start rotating the hips, then she will kind of start to slide. So only my upper part of my body here to have a bit of that happening, and then we exit. So let's show it one more time. 1, 2, 3, and I go a little bit of rotation, tiny bit, and 1, 2, and then whatever you prefer to do here. Could you do it with music?
So just if I can give a tip. These accents, okay, it can be depending on the music. So if you have, for example, it could even be an end pose.
Yes.
If you have, at the end of the song, you have a sharp beat, and at the end of the pose, at the end of the song, you can utilize this as an end pose. If it's not an end pose, you need to keep engaging with the intention that you're going to come back. So you're not just going to throw your energy into the position, you're going to contain the tension in the position as you go into it and as you come out of it. Otherwise, it's going to be very, very difficult to recover from the arrival to the pose to the exit if you don't hold the tension that you're going to need to bring each other back to access.
Because of course the main challenge is often to exit, not to enter. So to exit gracefully, I should say.
Yeah. Okay.
So here we go. So a few steps to place it in context. Okay. Leave a few moments to practice.
Como si fuera esta noche la última vez. Bésame mucho. No tengo miedo perderte después. Quiero tenerte muy cerca, mirarme en tus ojos, estar junto a ti. Piensa que mañana soy tan lejos, muy lejos de aquí. Bésame, bésame mucho, como si fuera esta noche la última vez. Bésame, bésame mucho.
Okay. Okay. So a couple of last little details for this to happen to work.
Yeah, so I just want to explain a little bit of the role of the standing leg. So I explained how to hook the left leg safely on the leader's waist. Now, the role of the standing leg is equally important because what we need is the knee to stay straight and a little bit of pressure on that big toe. Now, I'm not really a huge fan of having too much weight on the big toe, but because we have most of the weight on the other side of the axis, it's not too bad. So what you want is the alignment of the foot not to be this way, so you want to drop the heel off the floor and have the main contact of the floor being the big toe, and you want the standing leg to be completely straight, because if you are going to bend it, you're not going to have the same power to come back. So I'm utilizing the push of the embrace that I'm being given the opportunity to push up, and using that, I would say 80% of that helping me and 20% of me helping with my center coming back to return on top of my standing leg, and I'm pushing the floor all the way through as I go and as I return. Try not to collapse in your right hip like this, for example, or like this. So I'm really trying to keep that lifted, and all the time I'm not collapsing in my right hip.
As a leader, when I'm going down with my left, I really go and support my partner with my right hand and right arm, really lifting her here, so she has 2 points of contact, her arm around me and my arm lifting her. So both of us are going to be able to hold it without too much effort, hopefully, before we go back in.
Do you engage your center as well when you're doing this?
Absolutely, you need to, because what you don't want to do is start doing this and then you feel the weight of the follow a bit too much forward because you disengage, and then it becomes impossible to keep your verticality and keep your balance.
And it would be exactly the same for me, because if I disengage my center, I will become twice as heavy, and then the leader is not going to be very happy, and
Well-
probably very sore as well.
Well, the problem is if the follower does that, the problem is going to be the exit, because suddenly I can give all I want here, but if she's not helping me, she's going to probably collapse onto the next
It's
step.
called dead weight.
Anyway, it's impossible to work with
So
that.
shall we show a few more times with the
Sure.
music? Yeah.
Yes.
And see how much we can actually control to arrive, so we are not really collapsing into the pose, but we are controlling to smoothly transition into the pose.
And that, of course, that's one little thing which is not related to technique, but more about musicality. I'm trying to catch that moment in the song which is making sense. So luckily here, there was a couple of moments where it made sense, so I used them. But basically, I'm not trying to use the middle of the phrase, but I'm more trying to use something which actually is more at the end of the phrase, or something that has a bit of an accent here, because it's quite a strong statement, so you don't want to just do it at random times. So this is why it's always good to place it in context, do a little dance before, simple things, and then when the moment comes, bang, use it.
Exactly.
Big accent.
That's right, yeah.
Bésame mucho, como si fuera esta noche la última vez. Bésame mucho, no tengo miedo de perderte. Quiero tenerte muy cerca, mirarme en tus ojos, estar junto a ti. Piensa que mañana soy tan lejos, muy lejos de aquí. Bésame, bésame mucho, como si fuera esta noche la última vez.
Okay, you start practicing.
Bésame mucho, no tengo miedo perderte. Que tengo miedo perderte.
Okay, right, so okay, so for the next part of this class here, we are going to look at a jump, where I'm going to invite my partner to jump inside a hero. So it's a little bit complicated, so we're going to take it step by step, and of course we're going to start with an exercise to understand the mechanics of the lift itself.
So before we start, I would recommend that you do a warm-up for your wrists, okay? So, because we are going to rely a lot on the arms and wrists for this one. So I would recommend you that you do circles in and out, then you can stretch, flex. If you have an issue with this and you don't feel like your hands are strong, then obviously see whether it's doable to do what we're going to do next. That is optional.
This is optional. It's
Yeah.
nice, no?
Yeah.
Okay.
thanks.
Well, my wrists are all warmed up. I'm good.
So
So we're going to start with a little exercise to understand the mechanics of lifting with the partner or partner facing us.
So we can, if we can just slightly be diagonal. So what we're going to start is with this.
And note that now my hand is facing upwards, because what we want is to be able to push and help our follower by pushing up. Note that she's going to use right straight arm.
So shoulders down, shoulder blades down, and the elbow closed in next to your body. Yeah?
Mm-hmm. So
we are going to do that, but as you go down, you're going to go a little bit in flexion of the knees. Yeah? So we have here and then scoop. So the left arm going around the shoulders.
So note that at this stage I make sure that she has full access to my shoulders, and she's going to be able to start pushing.
Maybe we can show it this way.
Mm-hmm. So, one, and see here I'm going to go a bit lower with my embrace, and I'm going to push and down. So for now there's nothing much happening, it's just the preparation of the jump, where we're going to scoop and lift, and put down.
So here, this is an assisted jump, so I am not actually going to jump before my leader is taking me up. I'm just going to give a little bit of energy. When I feel this flexion, I'm going to flex, but I'm not going to flex as much as he does. And when we land, we both go through the flexion and then coming back to straight knees. Mm-hmm.
So, 1, 2, 3. And then I release.
Okay, one more time.
Yes. 1. And I release again. So, know that at this stage we just lift how high, I would say maybe, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 centimeters.
I think this is not yet about the height, because it's more a little bit, it's about how to understand how the mechanism works together with the embrace.
And the leader is helping the follower, of course.
Once this is working, the follower can then take the legs on an open position with legs on the side and straightening the back of the knees, so we get that sideways line in the air, and we're going to have exactly the same mechanism to go up and down. When I feel that I'm going to be returned to my initial spot, I'm going to close my legs in the air, and then coming back into the collection, flex knees and straight knees.
So maybe something for leaders to remember is that once you lift your partner, it's very important that the going back, the landing is as strong as the lifting. So it's not like you lift and then the job is done, and then, so it's very important to actually have
very good point,
strong lift, but strong landing as well. So
exactly.
Reverse the movements, don't just let go, because of course it's easier to let her go, and the landing is easier than the lifting, but it actually is going to make it very clumsy for the follower if you just like drop.
So the landing is part of the actual lift, or part of the actual figure. So until you have returned or delivered your partner back to its original position or into the position that will need to land next, you have not finished the figure. So pay attention to that, because it might not be safe in specific circumstances to let go, and we have to be, of course, sensitive to each other, yeah, in the way that we go out of the figure. So, can we show with the actual legs open?
Yes, absolutely. So, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to open a little bit to create that element of energy, because I want to make sure I can push. So, 1, and landing softly here. At this stage, note that my left knee is working a little bit more, because she's a little bit on this side here than my right, but of course it's up to you to actually use the leg that makes sense.
I get very little impulse from my own energy. I think you feel that now. Yeah. I utilize the impulse that the leader is giving me together with the momentum of going up, and that is enough for me to open my legs on the side. Again, you don't have to open your legs so much if they don't go all the way there. That's completely fine. What we want is to create a little bit of opening for you to see what happens next.
Okay, so should we do it one more time?
I think maybe let's do it a few times,
yes,
maybe with some background music, and
okay.
that gives you some time to try after that, yeah?
Right.
Bésame mucho,
You got time to practice.
como si fuera esta noche la última vez. Bésame mucho. No tengo miedo de perderte. Quiero tenerte muy cerca, mirarme en tus ojos, estar junto a ti. Piensa que mañana yo tan lejos, muy lejos de aquí. Bésame, bésame mucho, como si fuera esta noche la última vez. Bésame mucho, que tengo miedo de perderte.
Alright, okay, so I'm going to add a bit of fun by having my entire weight on one leg. So I'm going to have my entire weight on the left leg so that the right is free. So I'm going to do the same here. Rather than pushing on two legs, I'm going to, as I mentioned before, use my left leg as the dominant leg because I want to have this leg free to lift a little bit. So of course I don't need to lift very much, maybe just this is enough. Because of course the lady is going to be facing me, and for obvious reasons I can't go too high because she's actually open here. Yeah, so I don't want to get too intimate, let's say.
Yes, I mean that's of course always a good safety measure to have that in consideration. Now one thing that I have to say is Bruno is keeping me very, very straight, so be careful because the tendency will be to bring them to you, and then you're going to have a little bit of pressure on the lower back, and this is not necessarily healthy. So the tendency will be to do that anyway because the weight is going towards you, but you must try to fight with that and not allowing this to happen. So really try and use the floor and to have that power to keep you from doing that but going straight up.
So if we don't do the lift, just to show you what happens, she's going to be in that position and I'm going to go 1, 2, as simple as this. 1, 2. Of course, it's going to be during the lift. It's not going to be very long. I go and I come back, just a little patada, just a little kick of the foot, that's it.
So I think we should try both elements together. We're going to start exactly the same way and collecting the follower, going up and then the leg. Yeah?
Absolutely. So, I'm going to prepare, scoop, and then I use the moment when she's at her utmost position, I should say, to just send that leg in and out, and that's it. And then I receive the same amount of care for the landing as I was previously doing.
Okay, try one time.
1 and 2.
So the leader has to do a lot now because
Yes.
he has to do that and he still also has to deliver a good smooth exit. So remember that because you have your leg in patada, don't disengage because the tendency will be, oh, now I have to do my legs, I'm going to disengage the embrace. So you have to keep that pushing up all the way through until the exit.
So one thing that's a little tip for leaders, I would say, is make sure that you don't have your weight too much in the center. You need to be on top of your left, because if you are in the center, then you might feel that you are suddenly with the weight of your weight and the weight of the lady adding to that, you're going to feel that you're losing your balance to your right hand side. So make sure that you're really on that axis, so that that right leg is completely free.
So the reason why this can happen, it might be that the follower might be putting more pressure on one side of the embrace than the other side of the embrace. So the idea is to go straight up and really distribute the tension between the right side of the embrace and the left side of the embrace, so that we can stay straight and not having a weaker side that is going to make us tilt and therefore is going to interfere with good stability for the leader as well.
Exactly. So should we try to use music?
Yeah. Okay.
So we try this with music.
Como si fuera esta noche la última vez. Bésame mucho.
I need to change the angle a bit. And maybe do it here.
Tenerte muy cerca, mirarme en tus ojos, estar junto a ti. Piénsame que me
And maybe one down here.
muy lejos de aquí. Bésame, bésame mucho.
Last time.
Como si fuera esta noche la última vez. Bésame, bésame mucho.
Okay.
You want time to practice?
Tengo miedo perderte.
Okay. So now let's place it in context of the hero. This is where things get a little bit more complicated. I'm going to have to catch my follower when she does the forward draw, and I can't be facing her because of the rotation, so I'll have to make sure that I'm preparing myself with my left a little bit back, ready for the scooping. So it's not anymore a scooping facing our partner this way, even if it's on one leg, it's that way here. Yeah, so we're going to first show you when it happens. So I could do an ocho as a preparation. Ocho, ocho. Hiro, what am I saying? Hiro. So hiro as a preparation. Hiro, 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 and now is when I'm going back and down, getting in basically what is an Americana position for a very, very short moment.
So the leader is going around me, crossing back. I'm going around the leader, crossing forward. So this is how we are going to enter. Now as we go for it, we need to do the rest as well. So this is why we started building it up first with the arms. Now we're going to add the legs. And here, this is going to be my position to go up. So I'm going to get that help of the embrace, a scoop, and then up. Now we can't do this without the right momentum.
Without being so slow, it's very difficult.
And talking together, so let's try maybe once without.
So I'm going to show it with a hero, one, and here, and now is when I'm going to do the jump. Now let's do it first. I did the little patada here, but let's do it without patada. To start, here, hero, and on the second one is when I finish with the hero.
So there will going to be a tendency for the leader to let go of the arm and bring it up because of the rotation. That's how usually you do the hero. You have to avoid that at all costs, because until the follower is down, she needs the hand to be low. Yeah, so have your elbow close to your body, don't open the embrace. She can't handle the weight and the force of the rotation with that arm open on the side. So keep that elbow close to your body and the palm facing up until the landing. Yeah, this is important.
Hero. Hero number 2. And now is the assisted jump.
So the landing for the follower is going to be from the opening of 2 legs into the right leg. So this arm is going to slowly recover. So we are here and is going to recover into the embrace as we land. So we're here in the air and then we are going to go into the collection, and from here we can continue turning into the hero.
So one little tip for leaders is to really slow down after the landing, because the lady is going to need a bit more time than usual. So no panic, just let her do the step, and then you can actually add one hero to finish, because it's going to be much nicer to add the hero. Of course you can have multiple exits, but this is probably the nicest one you can do.
So for this one, because we're going to be rotating in the air, we're going to need a little bit more help from the follower. So it's not just up and down, but we're going to have rotation. And this means I am going to have that attitude as I'm going into my position. I need to think now I'm just not just going up, but I'm going around the leader. In order for me to have enough energy to go around the leader, I need to jump a little bit more, but I'm going to jump still. I'm going to wait for the power that my leader is going to give me before I jump. So I'm not just going to jump alone. I'm going to wait for my position, for the leader to start bringing me up, and then I'm going to add a little bit of my own energy to create enough force for me to go, or enough momentum, better said, for me to go around for a short moment.
Mm-hmm. So we'll show you with a bit of music, because it's nicer. So we will not do the patata just now.
And also we will not talk through, because it's really hard to talk and do it at the same time.
And especially phrase to say, right now I am on my, and then it's to it.
So yeah, we will not speak through this time. We have practiced for you, come back with the final patata. Okay, so as promised, we are going to do the same, but in rotation we have to lift and have a little patata, and then of course finish with a hero. So know that I haven't explained much how to do the hero before or after. I like to do 1 or 2 heroes before, so that we accumulate enough momentum in the hero, and I like to do 1 hero after to actually cool it down, because it's quite nice. Again, it's a strong statement, so
nice to actually put it in context.
So remember that the patada has to be very, very quick, because this moment of going up and down, we can't really sustain the forward that long up. So you really want that patada to be as quickly in and out as possible.
Tengo miedo perderte, quiero tenerte muy cerca, mirarme en tus ojos, estar junto a ti. Piensa en mañana, suelta lejos, lejos de aquí. Bésame, bésame.
Nice.
Okay.
Como si fuera esta noche la última vez.
So a lot of technical little details in all these jumps or assisted jumps, this piernazo, every thing that we covered today. We hope it was fun and entertaining as well.
Definitely, and do remember to have a little stretch, drink a glass of water. You might have pushed yourselves a little bit more than usual today, so remember it's your responsibility to look after your bodies and only go as far as you can.
Okay, so have a great evening and see you very, very soon for more Stage Tango. Thanks for
See you.
watching.
Bye.